My whole life, I've always wanted to just see how far I could go till I hit my own red line. Life takes you down a lot of paths. One adventure on Kilimanjaro, and I wanted more. Headed out in search of the 7 summits. Life got really busy. Business, work, text, email, nonstop. I discovered an escape through mountain climbing, leaving technology behind and just exploring, turning everything else off. You definitely feel a sense of belonging to nature when you're up there. The idea that you can survive in the harshest environments. Every mountain throws its own challenge at you. The sense of accomplishment you get is incredible. You do feel alive. You feel unbreakable. You feel like you can do anything. It's not about what others are doing or not doing. It is my own personal challenge. I'm competing with whether I think I'm living an exciting, adventurous life and living it to the fullest. Out of the 7 summits, Everest is definitely the most dangerous due to all factors. It is so far into the Himalayas. It starts out with a 10-day hike through the Khumbu Valley where you acclimatize to even get to base camp. Once you get to base camp, you're already at 17,500 feet, higher than any place in the continental US. And then between base camp and Camp 1 is the Khumbu Icefall, the most dangerous part. Blocks of ice the size of 5-story buildings are moving. Every time you enter it, it's a different path. Deal with extreme weather, avalanches, altitude, lack of oxygen. Once you enter the death zone, your body is literally breaking down and you have a finite amount of time before you succumb to altitude.
It's about 50% less oxygen right now, maybe even a little less than that.
Our first attempt going up the Lhotse face, we had to turn back. When the typhoon hit, the gusts were 60, 70 miles an hour, and you're on a 65-degree slope at 24,000 feet, and it was just too dangerous. This just isn't an endurance sport. In order to survive these mountains, you have to be a mental warrior. Once you hit the death zone and you're at 65% less oxygen, everything becomes difficult. Sitting up, standing up, putting on a boot, thinks you just have no physical strength. You're not eating, you're not drinking. It is very easy to get disoriented just because your body is not getting what it needs. Your lungs are burning, your head is pounding, your heart is in your throat. One saying that we use on Summit Day, it's time to embrace the suck.
It's the traffic jam atop the world, an image now emblematic of a deadly new normal.
Mount Everest, where gridlock on top of the mountain may be to blame for at least 9 deaths.
So far, at least 10 have died climbing the world's tallest mountain since the start of the season this month.
Climbers compartmentalize their feelings. Even with death, you have to disconnect from it. While I was stuck in the line trying to reach the summit, my body was physically beat up. It mentally shook me, witnessing so many climbers who had set out with the same goal as I did not come back off that mountain. It's a harsh environment up there, and you definitely have to be able to separate emotion from reality at the moment. It's almost impossible to help a fellow climber at high altitude. It's suicide. It's why I'm so thankful I had such an amazing climbing team. I don't think I'd have made it to the summit and back without them.
I believe in my brother's capabilities, I believe in his training, I believe in his research, but nowhere in there was there any preparation that you could ever do for the situation that he had to deal with on the Summit Day.
He chose to go there, but I didn't know he was suffering so much every day, whether he was going to survive or whether he wouldn't, and not being able to help him or do anything for him. It was just terrible. Great that he was alive, and he didn't want to tell me in the end, and he didn't tell me a lot as he was going through it.
Every day I would just text him 1 to 10, where are you? Like, how are you? We were all glued to the blog all day, and I think I would read the same blog 3, 4, 5 times and share it with everybody and talk about it. I must have asked Alexa 1,000 times for the status of my brother's team on Summit Day.
Madison Mountaineering currently has an active expedition on Everest. Location status was last reported on Thursday, May 23rd at 12:48 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. The team was at the summit of Mount Everest at an elevation of 8,864 meters.
The summit is actually not the goal. The goal is to get off the mountain. Whether you summit or you don't, that's when you've actually succeeded. I decided to get Everest out of the way in order to start the next great adventure, fatherhood. It's much easier to take bigger risks while climbing mountains when you know you don't have a son or daughter waiting for you at home. It's extremely contagious when you're around amazing, inspirational people that aren't just sitting back and floating through life. And if I can do the same, I would love the fact to say that I inspired someone. Remember, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much damn space.